Hey everyone, my name is Heathrow. I'm a handyman and a carpenter. Today we're going to be repairing the subfloor in the Craftsman remodel that I'm working on. We think this area that I'm standing in was either a covered porch at some point or an addition, because this area is actually 3/4 of an inch lower than the rest of the house. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be repairing the floor that we're standing on a bit and then making it match the level of the rest of the house so this can be one seamless room. So this is the subfloor we're going to be working on. And this section of the subfloor was a bit damaged. There was some split boards and it was kind of popping up. So I cut that out and I cut it to 8 feet just so a piece would fit nicely in there. And then once that's patched up, then we can lay our tongue and groove down on top of all of this. I've already vacuumed the space, so it's ready to receive the sheets on top of it. It's nice and clean, nothing in our way. All the nails have been pulled and it is ready to go. I'm gonna get started on this small opening here to get this floor repaired before I install the sheets over the top of it. For this whole project, I'm gonna be using construction adhesive underneath the sheet. Since this is an old house, it's probably never going to be squeak free, but I want to get it as close as I can and make sure all of this is tight to the floor to eliminate as much squeaking as we can. I've got a whole thing of heavy duty liquid nail and I'm going to go pretty heavy on it. Alright, so with that piece done, I can now work on the rest of the floor, bring it up 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to be using 3/4 of an inch tongue and groove on this so it all locks in together nicely and is solid. So to get started on this, I'm going to measure 16 inches on center and snap some lines where my joists are. This is a trick I like to use while snapping lines for myself. I've got my mark here where my joist is. So what I'll do is I'll just add a screw here. And now that screw can be my second hand while I mark these out. Now that I got my lines marked out, I'm going to start placing sheets. Oftentimes when you're placing subfloor and there's no existing subfloor like this is kind of a subfloor. You would place your construction adhesive right on the joists like I did with this small patch piece. Since I don't have the joists visible here, I'm just gonna lay the bead of construction adhesive right over top of where the joist would actually be and where my screws are gonna be going down. And hopefully that'll help hold it all together and eliminate squeaks. Sometimes you'll need to hammer your sheet of plywood in to get the tongue and groove to set. And I like to use a hammer block so I don't damage the tongue on this side. So I'll just put the block right next to it and hammer it in. Now I'm going to be cutting this piece, which is a little bit smaller. Luckily my room is almost close to square. On this end the width is 43 inches, and on this end the width is about 42 and a half. So something to keep in mind when you're laying this down is make sure that your area is square, and if it's not, make sure you cut it appropriately. I'm going to need room for the tongue to slide into the groove, and that's going to be about 1/4 inch. So on this side I'm going to cut it at 42 3/4, and then down on this side I'm going to cut it at 42 1/4. And I'm going to try to remember to cut off the correct end, which is the tongue. That way, when I do cut it, I'll have that tongue remaining. Oh no, see, I almost got confused. I want to cut off the groove and leave the tongue. So let's do that now. Got this section of subfloor done. Now that this is all set, the last thing I need to do is just fill in this little strip against the wall, and then our subfloor matches. Feels really solid too, just having another layer of 3/4 on here. Before, these diagonal slatted boards had a little more give, and now with this plywood, since it's spanning all of these joists, it feels really solid and there's no movement at all. Got this subfloor wrapped up. Looking really good. It's always the last piece that's the hardest. This little piece here in the corner, for some reason, it's like an unwritten rule of construction. The last piece you go to install is going to be the most challenging. But that's about it for this subfloor. Feeling really solid, all nicely connected together. Now I've got another patch on the floor to do, which I'll work on next. And that's about it for the subfloor projects in this house. There was a big air return in this space, but now this house has been updated to a modern furnace and we don't need this anymore. All right, I got my blocks cut here. This electrical wire is in my way, but luckily there's enough room I can get right next to it and put it right next to it and then re-staple it. So I'll grab my pliers here and pull this staple out. So these blocks are going to receive the subfloor on top of it. And then I'll do the same thing to this side. You can see it's going to hit there. So I'm going to cut these actually just a little bit short and we can go around this wire. The plywood here, let's see if it fits. Looking good so far. All right, that fits nicely. I'm really happy with how this came out. It's looking pretty good, and it's feeling more like a finished home every day. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for upcoming projects in the future. And if you like this video, definitely hit that like button. Helps me grow my channel and stay motivated to post these for you guys. It's also just a ton of fun. I really appreciate you watching. I've been putting out about 1 video per week. I'm gonna try to stay with that. That about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.